The South Carolina Hall of Fame was founded in Myrtle Beach in 1973 to recognize and honor contemporary and past citizens who have made outstanding contributions to South Carolina's heritage, history, and progress.
Leo Franklin Twiggs was born in 1934 in St. Stephen, South Carolina, the oldest in a family of 6 brothers and a sister. Leo was an excellent student, and with the assistance of a local minister, he was able to attend college. He graduated summa cum laude from Claflin College in 1956. Twiggs was exceptionally gifted in the visual arts. He pursued this discipline at the Art Institute of Chicago and began experimenting with the batik process, creating illusions on canvas with dyes and subtle textures.
You know, in art, you have to have a feeling. And I could not get that feeling with paint. And I found I could get that feeling with dyes and the feeling of the softness of cotton fabric. And I could use it with batik, and it kind of brought me home. And so batik was a way of saying what I wanted to say that I could not get any other way.
Twiggs relocated to New York University and received a master's degree in 1964. He became a professor of art at South Carolina State University in Orangeburg.
I had gotten to South Carolina State in 1964, right after I came from NYU. And so being there at that time, Maceo Nance had become president. And he was young, very Kennedy-like, because John F. Kennedy was the rage there, the way he dressed, the way he spoke and everything. But he also knew that I was new on the campus, and he had new ideas, and I ended up designing the official seal of South Carolina State. And he saw that my work had gotten some publicity, that brought some publicity to the campus as well. And one day he said, you know, I think we're gonna have a museum. Everybody thought he was crazy, but we ended up with a museum. The Standback Museum was the first and probably the only at the time museum about African American art and culture.
Twiggs continued to create art. He became the first individual to receive the South Carolina Governor's Award for the Arts, known then as the Verner Award. He was honored in 1980 at the State House in Columbia.
What I remember most about it is my mom was living, and my brother brought her to the State House. She'd never been to the State House before, and she was kind of late, so they sat her. She was sitting in the balcony. And afterwards, she said, son, when I saw you down there, I wondered whether that was my son. And she said, because you look so distinguished and all of that. And I remember that to this day, because when I was very young, my dad, on his way to the hospital, said to me that I may not return, but if I don't return, you're the man of the house. I was the oldest of 6 boys, 5 boys and a girl, 7 of us, and I was 15. And for Mom to see me there, making those footsteps, and my brothers all making those footsteps behind me, it was rewarding beyond words.
Dr. Twiggs has received many accolades in his long and distinguished career. His work contains relics, images, and icons essential to understanding the American South.
An artist paints out of his own experience, out of his own encounter with the world. And my encounter was in the South with my mom, my grandmother, the stories they told about my ancestry. And so I decided to revisit them. And I revisit them through my own experience growing up there. I visited the blues because we sung the blues all the time. I used to hear it on the radio. The Confederate flag. One of the things about the Confederate flag is that because I use wax and dyes on fabric, I can create an old flag with cracks, as if your ancestor was in the war and he had an old flag in the trunk, folded up, molded, even shot through with bullet holes, and you pulled it out, how would that flag look? That is what heritage is all about. When you fly a polyester flag above a state house, that is not heritage. That's exploitation of an idea. And so with batik, I could do that. And the funny thing about all of this is, all those years I explored the flag, I never had anybody start talking to me negatively or saying, why are you doing those flags? Somehow, people looked at those flags and understood that I wasn't denigrating the flag, that I was saying something about their heritage, but I was saying something about their heritage as a historical document that you put in a museum, that you honor your ancestors by putting something that happened to them in a place of honor.
On June 17, 2015, at Charleston's Mother Emanuel AME Church, 9 people were shot to death by a white supremacist. Dr. Twiggs' response was a requiem for Mother Emanuel.
Mother Emanuel was like the perfect storm, where a man used a flag and targeted a church and killed 9 people. And it was so moving to me that I knew this is something that I had to say something about. And so I did 9 paintings. And each painting is a testimony. It's not representing the person. It's a testimony, my testimony to that moment. Because in that series, you see the transition from the hate to redemption. Requiem is like a funeral, but it's also praise-like. You know, it's a song about a sad event, so to speak. And I didn't want to glorify the event. I wanted to talk about the sorrow of the event. The writer James Baldwin said something, he wrote something that was very important to me. He said the purpose of art is to lay bare the questions that are hidden by the answers. And so that tells me that I could use artwork to say things that I could not say simply writing it down. And I think people, you create out of the thing that you can express yourself best with. I developed batik as a painting because it refined my message even more.
The work of Leo Franklin Twiggs, an African-American man born in the segregated South, is a message of hope for the next generation and for every generation to come.
I want them to think about what they are going through and to see in my paintings what we went through. And if they connect those two things, if they can see that we have overcome, if they can see that there's a better day, if they can see joy in the morning after the darkness of the night, I'll be satisfied.